Welcome to the Williamsville Public Library Museum. Today is Monday, September 18th, 2023, and we're here talking to Harold and Carol Carter about the businesses that their family's been involved in over the years. Harold, I know that growing up you were busy working on the farm and in multiple businesses around town, and you had your own career, but eventually you decided you wanted to start your own businesses. Can you just start us out with how that began, what your first business was?
Well, I was working at Bruce Terminix, 76, 7, and 8 range. Had started landscaping on the side at that time. Bought 3 acres back behind our home on East Main Street and planted a field of trees.
From Ben Hankins.
From Ben Hankins in 77, and that's kind of what started our nursery tree planting landscaping business. In 79, I had a chance to buy the old Phillips 66 station across the road from R.C. Smith, who had bought it from Pappy and Earl Thomas that ran the gas station, and when the interstate went around, basically put them out of business. So we started, I bought that in 79, and we remodeled it and started a garden center over there. Built a shed back there that we could work out of, and developed the building itself into a flower shop, a nursery garden center flower shop, which my wife and daughter and others ran, and sister Eileen was involved. Eileen Gramp was involved with a business called Country Junction originally, when she moved down here from their home up by Bloomington, Shirley, Illinois. So we kind of ran that landscape tree business.
While our kids were in school.
Yeah, while the kids were in school.
Are we talking junior high, high school age?
Yes, because the landscape, I ended up having like 3 crews, but they were basically in the summertime when all of Chris's athletic friends worked for us.
So your son and his friends were your crew?
Yeah, so.
And Chris had a group. I mean, he was such a good worker.
Yeah, he was a kingpin on one of my crews. And I remember at one point, I was writing 22, 23 checks a week, you know. And I coached a lot of baseball back then, and a bunch of the kids played, so if we had games, we'd take off early and we'd go get our uniforms on and travel and play games.
It was a good time.
Yeah, we had a good time. And those kids come back to me today and thank me for
They're all successful guys.
Work ethic that they learned.
So you had the landscape business, you started the tree business, you had the flower shop going. At some point you started a development side of things. So how did that start?
Well, that was in 89. Some of the builders around came to me with the regret that there were no lots built on in Williamsville, and all the new housing was being built in the school district in Sherman. So I went to my neighbor, Dale Cravens, who owned 4 acres next to me, and purchased that from him in 89 and built a subdivision of 15 lots in his house, 16.
What actually I would like to say
Parkview Court
was when he bought that from Dale Cravens, Dale had a house there. So we ended up buying that, making it a subdivision, and we lived in Dale Cravens' house.
We moved into Dale's house while we were building our house.
Yes. And then when we sold it, we wanted to make sure that looked like it would fit into the subdivision. I think it fits in very nicely. His house is still there, but the way
we put an attached garage to make it look like it was one of the subdivision houses.
And we left the tree in the center.
There was a spruce tree down at the end where the cul-de-sac went around, and we left it and kind of made it center of attention, focal point down there. It's still there. And I had 7 of those lots pre-sold and had to go to Springfield to get my banking support and developed the subdivision. That's when at the meeting I found out that Williamsville only had 354 sewer customers.
So is that while you were on the village board at the time?
No.
Or you just happened to go to a village board meeting and discovered that?
To present my plan.
Okay.
Yeah. The sewer commissioner mentioned at that time that we only had 354 sewer customers and probably going to have to raise rates. And that's when I had a chance to unfold my plan and show them possibly the future. So the rates weren't raised at that time, and I produced 15 sewer customers. That continued on for a while, and again I was selling trees and that sort of thing.
So the flower shop is not still in business. The garden center, when did that wrap up?
When Craig went out of business.
So and then you said you took it on for a few more years after that, and then?
Well, I bought the property back in 96. 7 or 8 and actually started building storage units over there.
Okay, so that's a separate side business then.
That's a separate business. So then,
separate from the development and the trees and the landscaping.
yeah, when you subdivide, there are regulations you have to meet and a few headaches along the way. And my business partner told me that if I did it ever again, she would divorce me.
I see.
So I gave her that
And
opportunity.
you see how that works.
I see.
So I gave her that opportunity in 2003 to divorce me.
I see.
When I bought 30 acres off of the Susan Cook House Trust and proceeded to put in 84 lots, of which you live in one of the houses, by the way.
I do, yes.
That became very successful.
Can I add something there?
Jump right in there.
Because when he built that part, we put in the brick pillars that you see.
Yeah.
Well, something cool about that is Chris and Penny and Harold and I ended up fixing a
Time
capsule, and
Okay.
it's in one of the.
Okay.
buried in the west brick portal.
So someday
Okay.
we just put it in like a plastic
Just pictures
container,
and
so just things that were happening at the time that
little
we put that in.
information.
So that's in one of the pillars to Parkwood Estates.
Yes.
Yes.
You obviously were running some successful businesses and are still involved in successful businesses. What do you think helped make your businesses succeed in Williamsville? What do you think helped them do well in Williamsville?
Williamsville School District.
Okay, in terms of the development, you think that helped your development business?
It brought the customers. People didn't buy
Okay.
lots off of me because I was a good guy. It was a Williamsville School District.
And we found that a lot of policemen and firemen liked the village.
When they had the opportunity to live outside of Springfield,
Yes.
they came to the Sherman-Williamsville area?
Yes.
Okay.
But
And
again, it had a lot to do with the school.
when you think about that, business has changed, the community has changed, and you've done a lot over the years. What do you think is different about running a business today versus when you started running your own business?
In the course of things, 7 plats of subdividing became a little bit easier towards the end because I had the trust of the leadership of Williamsville. And they still want me to produce and build today, and I'm just too old.
What
Well, I don't know
also
about that.
helped when he was subdividing, and the village was a huge help. He did a lot of the work on his own with his own equipment, and it would just have been astronomical for someone to come in and do it.
I couldn't have subdivided if
No.
the engineer said, okay, this costs $800,000. Okay, but I'm not going to pay $800,000. I'm going to maybe pay $550,000 because I'm going to do $250,000 myself, and that's how I convinced the banks, the lending institutions to make this all happen. Because it's multi-millions of dollars of real estate down there. And I had a lot of help, obviously. Had partners along the line. My son Chris and Don Lideker convinced me when we needed to buy another 30 acres at the back, put in another 69 lots. Don had been after me, and I said, no. And then Don got after Chris, and Chris came to me and said, oh, yeah, Dad, you're too young. You can't quit. So that's when we bought another 30 acres. And then Don sold out to Matt Seaman in recent years. So Chris and Matt and I are still, I'm 55% owner, and they own the rest. But it's been a team effort all along. She fixed my supper when I came home, so she was a big part of the team.
And did the laundry.
Did a little laundry along the way.
Raised the kids. Raise the kids.
So it's just been a tremendous ride for the Carter family, in my opinion.
And I think our family and the businesses have kind of been together. It's not like the family's here and the business is here. Chris and Penny have been a part of everything that's happened, I think.
In 72, when I was on the town board, the Palumbo construction family came to the village and requested a 6-inch water main, put a concrete plant to build a highway, interstate. So they built a concrete plant where the new bank building is now, tore down the old Wagner Motel and put in the concrete plant, and then bought where Carol and I now live. They bought 18.69 acres, built a 8.5-acre lake, and used the dirt to build the overpass. So 17 years later, in 89, is when I started my Parkview Court subdivision and had to just do away with my tree farm. So I put my tree farm up where we are currently, and we still operate today up there, and bought another 5 acres off of Constance in 2003.
So it sounds like some flexibility has definitely helped lead to your business success as well.
Yes.
In addition to, like you said, merging the family and the business aspects of things. And Carol, did you run the flower shop, the Country Junction business? Okay.
Yes, I did.
So about how long was that in business?
How long did I have that?
Well, we've sold out in 95, 79 to 95.
In fact, I preferred being a mother and raising my children And he came home one day and he said, I am buying this property and you're going to have a flower shop. I cried.
Oh, no.
Because I wanted to raise my family at home.
Of course.
Well, we had to pick up the dead birds in the building and throw them out.
The building was pretty bad.
Before we started, Penny cried too.
And I remember I picked up Penny from kindergarten, and we went over there to see this building that wasn't in very good shape.
But you turned it into something that was in good shape.
And there were some good memories, and I took a class. I mean, I did enjoy doing that kind of thing all my life, but then I took a class and became more familiar and
we had an
did the
interesting Sunday afternoon in '89 when she and Penny had gone to town shopping, and I went to Dale Cravens' closing out sale and sold our house to
He sold our house.
a guy that I met at the auction, and he was going to be transferred over here with Menard Electric from Petersburg and needed a house, and he went over and looked at the house. By the way, I think I sold the first $100,000, $200,000, $300,000, $500,000, and $600,000 house in Williamsville. And
those weren't all ours.
No, but houses I built or whatever. Bob bought the house. Carol comes home from shopping. I said, oh, by the way, I sold our house this afternoon. You what?
So that's when we moved to Dale Cravens' house.
Okay.
Chris graduated in '89.
When we were building our new house.
New house, yes. And Harold promised me we would be building a new house when we moved over to Dale Cravens'. But actually, the time Penny was a junior in high school, or a sophomore. Anyway, she was young, and she was told that we were going to, she had, was used to where she lived, and we had this little house. To get to our bedroom, we had to go through her bedroom.
Oh, no.
At the age that she was, it worked, but it was a little interesting.
I think Chris found out building our big house on Harpole that he wouldn't be a builder because I had him up on top of our 10-12 roof putting the tip-top trusses. They were too tall for the semi. So he was up there with me putting the tip-top trusses and the plywood up. And he said, I'll never get up on one like that. They never did.
So he chose a different career path.
Yeah.
Well, in fact, at one time, he was really interested in the business, the nursery business.
Yeah.
And Harold said, no, Chris, you don't want to do that. He said, you want to work for someone, have good insurance, and get a good job. No, you don't want to be self-employed.
So he went to Springfield Electric and had a tremendous career ever since.
Yeah.
And speaking of careers, you're basically semi-retired. I think it would be false to say that you're retired.
Less than semi.
So what are you doing these days for fun? What do you do in your free time?
When I finished selling my 84 lots, around 2002 is when I finished selling those 84 lots. I was 52, and I told Carol, I said, at some given point, we're going to be too old to do some things, so we're going to start now. So we bought a little Mercedes convertible, and we had a good time with it. Drove all over, had a good time. We started buying some condos in Florida
because of Penny.
And
she had been transferred to Florida.
And we
okay. So to stay near to her, you had a condo.
Well, we just went down to visit her because she and Bill were going to get married, and we went down to visit and fell in love with Lakeland, Florida.
Well, and it was right after 9/11.
Yes.
And everything could be bought for pennies on the dollar. So we started buying, and in the process, we bought and sold 7 properties down there.
And we don't own any anymore, or don't go there anymore.
In '03, we had enough income that we needed to do some 1031 swaps, so we bought a restaurant in Lincoln, the old train depot, and had some successful racehorses along the line. And
so we're back to this semi-retirement.
Yeah.
So nowadays, what are you doing?
Well, I don't fly, and my health started deteriorating when I was 66. So we pretty much drive our little BMW convertible around.
And family.
We
do things with family.
Okay.
Our grandkids are either involved in dance or sports or the arts or singing or whatever, and we are well entertained.
Very good.
Traveling with them all the time.
Very good.
Nashville, Davenport, Iowa, St. Louis, all over.
As you're wrapping up your businesses, it looks like you have a lot of other things to keep you busy, including your family and friends and community. Well, thank you so much for sharing your insights. We appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you.